Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. It's an exciting day. It's new product time. Never before seen. I will be honest, I just got them in the mail. So this is going to be a nice first impression. What are they? How to use them? All the ways to use them. We're talking pressed pigments. They look like eyeshadows. They can be used as eyeshadows, but that's not all they can be used for. So I'm gonna give you guys all the deets before the drop comes this weekend. So if you wanna check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell. And thank you for being here. Okay, friends. Who is excited about new releases? I haven't even opened them yet. I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. I'm very excited. I want to get in here and play, experiment, have some fun. So I have my full face highlights, color correction, main shade, contour, bronzer, and then I powdered. And I did my brows. Everything else, eyes, lips, cheeks, we are gonna play with color today. Let me just show you one of them. So Seint is releasing Pressed Pigments. So if you've been following Seint for a while, you probably saw that back at conference, we got to swatch a bunch of shades and we all just assumed they're eyeshadows because let's be honest, they look like eyeshadows. Oh my gosh, don't mind me. I just put on new nails. I haven't had a chance to cut them yet because it hasn't been long enough. And I can't function with nails this long. So give me a little grace. We're gonna power through. Here is the shade Everly. Oh my gosh, I love that name. And oh, she's pretty. These are not technically eyeshadows. They're calling them pressed pigments because they are ultra saturated, high impact color, rich, vibrant, and can be used for your full face. So think of almost like multi-purpose pigments, almost like the capabilities to just stain. Like I'm pretty sure that just stained my fingers just swatching into it. So they're a little bit different. I will be honest, not everyone might like these. They're gonna be something that will inspire your creativity. They're meant to mix, to play, be versatile products that you can use in a multitude of ways and kind of like and bring out your inner makeup artist. I know I had so many comments about people first starting this makeup and they're like, I feel like an artist, like painting my face. This is gonna be like the epitome of that because these are super saturated ways to kind of add a pop of color, whether that's to the eyes, the lips, the cheeks, liner, brows, whatever the shade might be. There's gonna be a lot of versatility, but it's gonna allow you to really experiment, which is my motto, in case you don't know. So I am going to pop all these babies out, put them in the compact, and swatch them. We're gonna go over swatches. We're gonna go over how you can use each on different areas of the face in different ways. There are 19 shades and they are dropping on St. Patrick's Day, which I feel like is very appropriate because it is a rainbow of shades. So March 17th, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if you buy anything, so any purchase on the 17th, you will get Lucky Pigment, which is a beautiful sage green. You'll get this one for free as a free gift with purchase. That will go until 10 a.m. on the 18th. After the 18th, the rest of the month of March, if you buy any 3 pressed pigments, you will get this free. Or if you buy the entire collection, which I will show you once I open all of these with my Gigantor nails and put them in the palette. And then we will go through swatches. So I will be right back. Okay, friends, I'm back. Let's talk shades. Do you see why I think the release on St. Patrick's Day is perfect? It's like the rainbow, right? Here is the Pressed Pigment Collection in the aisle 20 palette. The entire collection will be available starting Sunday on St. Patty's Day, March 17th. Caveat, I didn't get one of the shades, so I cheated and I put a similar shade in there that's not quite available yet, but is also Pressed Pigment. So those of you that got the free Baker Street when we launched to the UK, I put her in there. I'm missing one of my shades. One of them was not in the box, so, but it is very similar to this one. So my caveat is, technically that's not the one that you will be getting, but let's go over these shades, shall we? Are they not pretty? They're so pretty. First things first, if you can't tell, they are all mattes, obviously. All mattes, all very saturated. To be honest, not as I was expecting way more staining, but my makeup remover wipe got it off my hands very easily. So I'll be curious to see how it comes off when I try to get all the swatches off my arm. But they did give us a little warning, and I believe because we're available to the UK now, they had to put a warning that 3 of these shades are considered such high pigment load and so saturated, such high opacity that they could possibly stain near your eyes or cause irritation. So there are 3 shades that you need to avoid near the eye area. They are the red, hot pink, and orange-ish shades, so it's typically not a color we wear around our eyes a lot anyway. I feel like these are gonna make better lip and cheek colors anyway, like the staining that we want on our lips, those are what we're gonna get from those colors, right? Just a heads up, Days, Guava, Ladybug. These 3, not near the eyes, okay? Just remember that. A brand new brush launching called the On Point, but On Point. I even cut my nails down a little bit as I was swatching because I dug one into my lucky, not lucky, but it was my unlucky. Okay, the On Point brush is 2-sided, but it is the same on both sides. We've never had a brush the same on both sides. Okay, so here's what I would recommend. Because these are so pigmented and they have staining power, I would recommend this brush is perfect to use one for eyes, one side for lips. That's how I'm gonna use it. I will be honest, they recommend like using the brush cleaning soap so that it doesn't stain, obviously, white bristles. I am a little lazy. You guys probably know that. Like, this is what my multitasker looks like right now. This is what my spot brush. I wanted to compare to you guys so you could see the difference in case you have the spot brush. It is longer, more flexible. This one is denser, more like pointed, tapered, has a little bit less flexibility than the spot brush does. And then compared to the multitasker, which is more of a like a flat pointed, very dense end, if you can see the difference. So with the On Point, End Point, I probably will not be using a brush cleaning, like the brush cleaner or even the brush cleaning soap after every use. So I'm just going to do one side eyes, one side lips. I don't really care if it stains. It doesn't bother me. But if it bothers you, just know, wash to avoid the staining. Right, enough with that. Let's go over each shade and the swatch. First up, we have Dandelion. It's this mustard yellow shade right there. And we have Juniper. It looks really dark in the 10, but it is like a deep forest green. To me, it is more of like, has a little bit of blue in it. I actually am obsessed with this shade. I think it is so pretty. I wish I had more hands. Like, do you see how it's almost like, it's not necessarily like I don't really see it as forest green. It's almost like a really deep saturated teal. Not super blue, but just enough that it's not just like a dark emerald green, if that makes sense. I love this color. It's very unique. So pretty. Then we have Daisy, which is, they call it a muted yellow brown. I think this is gonna be one of the most popular shades because it is a nice, just like a little bit, I think if you're gonna use it as eyeshadow, it's like lighter than Bubba, not quite so warm. Got a little bit more yellow, less orange in it. I'm definitely gonna put this on the eyes today. And then the 4 shade, which looks really dark green, and the 10 is the one that you get free as your gift with purchase. That is Lucky, which they describe as just a dark sage, and that is a perfect description in my opinion. But when you're swatching these, you can tell they are different than our eyeshadows. You can tell they're way more pigmented. They're not gonna be as easy to blend out, in my opinion, but they're also, I mean, they have so much pigment. If you're one of those people that's like, oh, I hate putting on eyeshadow and feel like I'm constantly building up because it's like not pigmented enough or too sheer, these are the opposite of that, all right? So a little is gonna go a very long way, and I'll show you when we do our eyeshadow look. We have Blue Suede, which is this first one. I'll be honest, I feel like the blues of all of them are the most similar in my opinion. I don't necessarily think you need all 3 blues. If you look at them next to each other, these 2 look very identical. That one, so we have Blue Suede, Figaro, and Raindrop. I wanted to put them all on the same arm so you could see the comparison. So Blue Suede is much more of like a dusky blue. I'd say Figaro has the most gray in it. It's a little bit lighter. And then Raindrop has the most blue, but they're all pretty like muted. None of them are bright blues, kind of like some of the blues we have now. They're really beautiful tones, but they're very similar. Like the 3 of them, I feel like, I don't know if I could tell the difference if I put them all 3 next to each other and you blindfolded me and were like, which one's which? All really pretty though. I'd say if you're scared of blue but want a little bit of touch of blue, Figaro. I think Blue Suede is my favorite. Or if you're wanting more of that blue color payoff, then you would go with Rain. But the next one is one of my faves. This one looks super dark, but it's called Honeymoon, and it's called a Deep Mulberry. I feel like that would be a beautiful liner color for sure. And then probably the next 2 are gonna be the most popular, I would say, for eyeshadow. If you're looking at these as like really pigmented eyeshadows that will probably last you forever because you're not gonna need very much, that is gonna be Santa Fe and Cowboy. Santa Fe is called a rustic, like red undertone brown. To me, it looks very much like Sedona. And then Cowboy is described as a warm, soft brown, but to me, that does not look warm. It looks very, very taupe, almost got an olive green undertone to it. To me, that is a much cooler brown. I would not consider it warm at all. Definitely not when swatched. In the 10, you can almost tell how much cooler it is. Okay, then we have Pistachio. I mean, the name says it all. It's like an olive green. It's like a light olive green. My gosh, I'm getting these all over my shirt. I should have known, like I should have worn black or something. That would have been smarter, Sarah. Okay, I already showed you Figaro. That is this one. It's described as a steel gray. To me, that's not gray. It most definitely has blue in it. It's like a blue gray. I'd say this is the grayest of all the blues, but it definitely is still blue. There's Maldives. How do you say it? Maldives? I'd say Maldives. It is a blue-green, So pretty. Like that would make the most beautiful bold liner ever. And like I said, there's Raindrop. Raindrop is a cool steel muted blue. I agree, but it's definitely more blue than these two. Lilac is just a beautiful, it's very vibrant, vibrant lavender, purple. I am missing Lyra, which is called a deep plum. So I went ahead and put in Baker Street because it also is a deep plum. So that's why I only half swatched it on here. Baker Street is a pressed pigment. It will be released eventually. They just didn't have enough after the free gift with purchase in order to release it at this time. But it is a beautiful deep plum. It's got a little bit more purple in it than I'd say our other plummy shades, but it is very deep and dark. I will insert a picture of what Lyra looks like. I'm so sad because it honestly was what I was planning on using as liner. It was like right up my alley. It was one of them I was most excited about. So yeah, that's okay. I will get her. And then I put the most, I'd say, probably what's gonna be considered lip and cheek shades. I put all of those on my hand so we can kind of see them next to each other. I'm obsessed. This is Everly. This is the one I showed you earlier, right there. She's described as a cool red. I feel like she is, I mean, I do see, really hard for me to call something a cool red because obviously red is as warm as it gets. Usually cool reds, you can see more blue in them. I can see that this one has a little bit more blue, which is also described as a cool red, which is Ladybug. Usually the more pink, it's a little bit cooler. I just love this shade. This is Everly. This is Coral, which literally describes it. Coral. I will definitely be putting that one on. Ladybug. And then Guava is a pink red. I think it's more of a hot pink, but definitely a bright pink, which is this one right here. And then this last one is called Days, and it's considered an orange red, which to me, I'm like, okay, this looks like a very bright coral, a very hot pink. This one reminds me kind of like ruby. Coral looks straight up coral, and this looks like a pretty between these two. So really pretty tones. I love these. Because you can really kind of mix and match and create your own shades with them. Because we're talking creativity, right? Like we're gonna see how can we use these on the face, play with makeup and have some fun. So the collection does come with the brush cleaning tile, which is perfect in between shades with your on point, end point. I wish I knew how to pronounce these things. The new brush. So the 3 shades to avoid near the eyes are these last 3. If I didn't make that clear, just so you know, Ladybug, Guava, Days, all right? Coral and Everly don't have as much pigment. You can probably kind of tell even by just looking at it. So they recommend using a primer so that things wash off better. In my opinion, for one, I never don't use a primer on my eyes. Also on my face, I never apply any lip and cheek directly to my skin. I always use Seint creams first, use my foundation first. So I'm not really too worried about it staining those areas. If it stains my lips, that's great. That is an area I don't mind being stained because it will give me better staying power. But let's go ahead and do eyes. Now, one thing, if you don't know anything about eyeshadow, obviously, the more pigmented your eyeshadow, the harder it is sometimes to blend, meaning you want to always pick up a little bit, dust off excess. You want to make sure you're using a fluffy brush if you're going on a large area to kind of diffuse. This brush is going to be more like precision work, meaning liner, okay? Not necessarily full eye with this brush. It's just too dense. All right, so just remember, anytime you're picking up one of these products, you want fluffy brush. So like the fluffy end of the eyeshadow brush, or like a brush like the shape brush, this end, the really loose bristles that are gonna pick up less product, depositing too much in one spot. Now for me, it's always a must that if I'm going in with eyeshadow, even if it's not the most pigmented eyeshadow ever, I always do a generous veil of vanilla dust across my entire eye. For one, if you prime your eyes and you don't put vanilla dust down, it's just gonna stick to the primer and you're never gonna get a blend. For two, I have oily eyelids. This kind of sets that primer in place, locks it in, and again, it gives you a powdered base to blend off of. So when in doubt, use vanilla dust or even an eyeshadow that is the color of your lid, like Chai or Pup, something like that, what I call my magic eraser shade, just so I get a nice base so that when I go in with color, it blends easier. All right, I'm just gonna go right on into it and we're gonna do some eyeshadow. I'm gonna obviously use the only blending brush we have, which will pick up less, and I have not tried these. So this is gonna be my first impression. And I am gonna go in with Cowboy, which is this cooler one, and we're just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna pick up some on the tip of the brush. I'm always gonna off excess, and then I'm going to barely touch my eye since I don't know how much pigment this is gonna put down, as I'm kind of starting to disperse that pigment. And really, that wasn't bad at all. Like I was expecting more. Hey, better safe than sorry, because guess what? It's really hard to take away excess eyeshadow or to fix eyeshadow that is just like too much pigment. So don't be scared. This is not, it's actually a really beautiful color. I'm gonna go just a little bit underneath. Gosh, I actually love the fact that I don't need to pick up much at all. But I was afraid it would not blend as well, and it's blending perfectly fine. So that's Cowboy. Go ahead and do the other eye. Okay, obviously, I'm dying to use Santa Fe because that one's calling my name. So now I'm gonna go in with Santa Fe. That's so pretty. Okay, and I'm dying to also try Daisy, which is this muted yellow. I just think it's gonna be really pretty up higher to add some warmth. I put a little bit on my lid as well. I am definitely not used to wearing an all matte eye look. I never wear all matte, so this is gonna be hard for me. Okay, so I really feel like I don't notice how pigmented they are when I'm picking them up with this fluffy brush, but the other side of the eyeshadow brush, when I went under my eyes, I'm like, oh, whoa, because that one is more dense, it picked up more. Obviously, those are very natural colors, but they're blending out perfectly fine. In fact, I feel like I could add more. Like everyday natural eye. Just because I figured I'm gonna get asked. Here is Cowboy, here is Santa Fe, Bubba, and Sedona. So you can kind of see they do not have the same tones at all. They really don't. So pretty. I really like these two. I feel like they're buildable, a lot easier to apply and blend than I had expected, to be honest. I wanted like a nice neutral base, so then we could go in with something more bold for eyeliner. Are you guys ready for it? There are multiple ways you can do this. Because these are so pigmented, you're gonna get a lot more color payoff when you go in to line your eyes with something like this. So Say you wanted this mulberry, you could literally just swipe right in, and just swiping on, you're gonna get quite a bit of color, okay? Obviously, the more you press, the more pigment you're gonna get. Pulling is gonna shear out the color, right? You guys know me, I always line my eyes and press a powder over it to kind of set it in place. Same concept, you could do that, only use powder. You could also use a setting spray or even water to wet the pigment and then draw it on. Usually a setting spray like that is gonna give it more longevity. My favorite and one of my hacks, tools, secret weapons, if you will, is the Inglot Duraline. So if you don't know what this is, it's a mixing medium. What it does is it waterproofs anything you mix with it. It allows you to, like, you can do everything from dipping a pencil eyeliner into it so that you're not gonna get smudge-proof eyeliner, to making a liner using one drop. That's all it takes. I'm just going to use one drop of Inglot, and I'm dying to try this Juniper, which is this dark forest green. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip my brush into the pigment and load it up, and then I'm gonna touch this because I don't really want this getting on the eyeshadow and causing it to create a film or anything like that on top of the pigment, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the On Point brush, and then I'm just gonna draw a line, and as I need more, I'll pick up more. If I do need to pick up more pigment, I'm gonna just make sure it is on the very corner of the 10. Like once your brush is wet with this, and like I put a drop, but like I barely used even a piece of it. But once it's like wet, I feel like you can just easily pick up a little bit more pigment and build it up to the depth you want. Oh my gosh, this color is so pretty. Also, this brush is real good. It makes even drawing a wing so easy. Just take a little bit more pigment, mix it, and draw. So having a mixing medium like this Inglot, it's gonna give you so much versatility, especially if you like being able to use any color eyeshadow you have. You don't have to necessarily buy a long wearing liquid eyeliner that might be more difficult to use. If you're good at using a brush, you can literally make eyeliners out of every single color you have. It is such a great product to have in your beauty arsenal, especially when it comes to versatile pigments like this. Color is fantastic. So good. So if these were eyeshadows, technically they're not. Obviously that Juniper, I almost called it Mulberry Honeymoon, and the Lyra that I don't have, I believe are all gonna be those deep dark shades that will make really good liner shades. Oh, this is what I'm saying. If this bothers you, you'll have to go wash your brush. Let's see if this takes it out. The brush cleaner removed a large amount of it, but it did not fully take it out of the bristles. I'm guessing that's why they are recommending the brush cleaning soap. If you've never used that before, it's the only thing. I just cleaned this brush, but you can see the bristles aren't completely pure white. The brush cleaning soap is the only thing that I've ever used that will make them pure white again. All right, eyes are done. Let's play with cheeks. There are multiple ways. Obviously, you could use these shades on your cheeks as well. You could do the powder by itself. meaning just like a powder blush, apply some color to the cheeks, call it good. Let's go ahead and try that on this side. I'm gonna pick probably the safest color, which would be coral, because I have not tried these yet. I'll be honest. I just wanna make sure I don't, I don't have powder on my cheeks. Probably it'd be safer to powder the cheek and then go in for the same concept. If you powder it, then powder will go over it smoother and not just stick to certain spots. But I wanted to show you guys what to do, what not to do. First things first, grab a loose bristled brush, something that's not super dense, so that when you go to pick up the product, you'll probably also have to take the pigment out of your compact so you're not getting blue or green or something crazy on a brush, like the outside bristles of the brush, right? Instead of just going in with pigment like this and then going straight to your face, if you can see how much pigment that would have given, I want you to disperse it on your hand. If you've ever seen someone do the same thing with a powder, whatever the case may be, you kind of like work that into the bristles so that way when you go in, you're not just gonna have this great deposit of color to one spot of your cheek, wherever you touch your face first. So I still have plenty of pigment on my brush, and that way when I go in, it's still gonna pick up that color. You can see it, but then I can control how much product I'm putting down, and I'm not gonna have to work at blending. If you've ever tried to blend a powder blush over a cream and it's patchy, it's very hard. It's very hard. Usually you have to use a setting spray, fixing spray, something to like re-wet your face and use a sponge. So we don't want to deal with that. I'd say just make sure you're not going straight into your face. Don't pick up too much, but I was right. This color is beautiful. I knew it would be. I could tell. Let's try a different method. So these also could be used to set a cream blush. Obviously we have over 40 blush shades. One of the things I hear the most is like, my lip and cheek isn't lasting. You can do the same thing like we do with all other creams. Put on the cream and then you set it with a powder. It's gonna lock it in, then it won't move. So if you've tried it with vanilla dust, like setting your blush and it just tones it down too much, you can pick one of these that's the most similar in tone, and that way you can kind of lock it in and then your blush will last way longer. I wanna try something a little bit different. This is a brand new product, buy one size. Have you guys seen this? Serum Mix-In Medium. This is B2 Base Thinner. Now, this product was originally designed to mix with says it transforms the coverage of a liquid foundation or a cream formula. Adds a boost of radiance and a shot of vitamin B12 for a healthy, luminous finish. It does have a luminosity. It has a crushed pearl in it. My idea, now this does have silicone, so using it under your full face of foundation probably won't work, but like anything, using a silicone on top of Seint does not affect it. So setting spray, some of those silicone pore blurs, those work fine as long as it's over, not under, where it can affect the slippage and slidage of your face. But I really wanted to try this. Just gonna use a little bit. And you can kind of see it has this beautiful like pearl type finish, but it is made to mix with foundations, liquid blushes, all the things, but there's nothing that says you cannot mix it with a powder as well. So I'm gonna use a very tiny amount, use your tweezers, anything, and I'm just gonna get a little bit from the corner to add and scrape a little bit of this pigment. Not much. We're gonna see how this goes. And then I'm just going to mix it together. Now, these pigments are just that. They're pigments. You could mix anything. Meaning, so let's say your favorite lip and cheek is Sunshine State, like me. But you really wish it had more pigmentation and it wasn't just mostly shimmer. Because I mainly use it to layer, but like, say you want to put more. I probably should have made a larger amount, but that's okay. We're gonna try it. But like, say you want more pigment and you really want like a coral undertone or one of these other shades, you could totally mix them, add more pigment, get that color payoff, and make your own custom blush that way. So I am going to not waste any, and I'm going to pick up this product and I'm gonna create my own cream blush with luminosity because it's got that pearl. My gosh, I didn't even need as much as I picked up because these are so pigmented. It did not need much at all. But can you see that finish? And that color is glorious. You can tell I have more pigment on this side than this side. And I've got that glow that I always want. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just not a powder girl unless I'm using it to set. Now, if you want blur in your cheek area, go straight in with this. Don't use something like this. This is only gonna create more glow, which is gonna reflect more light. You're gonna see more skin texture. But I'm here for it. That is stunning. I just keep adding more. I'm just gonna use everything on here. I need a little shimmer in my life, even if it's on the cheeks. So there you go, there was coral. Obviously that same technique could be done with any of the other colors, but I knew that color would be safe because it's not quite as pigmented. It's not one of them that you have to avoid or anything like that. If you see how very little I actually took from it, that pigment will still last me a very long time, even if I did that on the daily. So pretty. Can you guys tell? I'm like, I need coral. I'm in like the mood for spring. Spring coming. I need it quickly. Now, another option that you'll probably see the most is something we already have, which is our balm. Same thing. Gosh, these nails are so long. I can just literally just use that as a spatula. Same thing. I can take a little bit of balm. Let's see. I'm going to try Everly this time. You can probably even just take a little bit on your finger and mix it. Now, you can mix this on the back of your hand. Just remember, these have staining power. So you want to keep a wipe handy because using my finger, it makes it a little bit harder to see the overall color because it was all stuck on my finger. I'm gonna go ahead and use the other end of my brush and we're just gonna do a little lips. Now let's just try it dry. I'm gonna use Mulberry and line the lip. And since I'm very into stains right now, I'm not even gonna use the Inglot. Now, if I wanted like it to last all day, all night, if I was going to an event and I needed my liner to last, I would use this to wet my brush and then I would line my lips. I still have a little bit of balm left on my lips, which is why I feel like it's just kind of sticking really easily. And I don't feel like it's going anywhere. I really love the precision of this brush. I mean, we've never had a brush I didn't like, but this was good. That's pretty. Okay, now that we kind of have some definition, I'm gonna use the Everly Balm mixture. To give myself I feel like I'm totally getting the French vibes, like Just Kiss stain effect, which I'm here for because that's the look that's in right now. So pretty. Now, if you need more, I feel like I don't need any hydration because the balm is so hydrating, but I'm gonna add a little bit of lip oil over it just because I can't help myself. So if it's a little too cool red, Cocoa's my favorite. It's like my ride or die now. If you want to cool it up, you can go with marshmallow. I like to warm things up, so I go with Cocoa. I just thought another fun thing to do would be to mix with Illuminator. I said you can mix with a lip and cheek, but say you want a little bit of shimmer. I keep going for coral, but I'm just gonna try a touch. And I'm saying like, I'm just gonna swatch it. This is the one of them that's has a warning label. This is guava. I'm gonna take guava and I'm literally gonna swatch it onto this, which means there's not much because most is left on my finger. And I'm just gonna touch, this is Stardust, which was an Illuminator. I'm not gonna touch directly into this. I didn't wanna stain this, but I'm just gonna use my finger and kind of mix in enough of this where it's not hot pink. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. If my eyes could handle that, a cream on the eyes, I totally would put that on my eyes, but I know I would crease because my eyes are so oily. So little pink iridescent. Definitely using a clean finger to blend that out. There's a little guava and Stardust. Oh, that's pretty, especially on top of that concoction. So if you need a little illuminator, but say you want to like create your own tone, you could literally create a lot of different tones with these, right? Iridescent, but it didn't have much color to it, so I figured, I don't know if you guys could see the color that turned out. It's really hard to capture. That'd be good on the lips too. Just put it everywhere. Gosh, so there we go. We used it as eyeshadow. We talked about using eyeliner, powder, wetting your brush, using something like Inglot, powdering the cheeks. You could set your cream blush, use a mixing medium, use another lip and cheek, use an illuminator. Lips, you can do all the same ways as eyeliner with balm. Use it, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could probably just use straight powder on your lips and throw a lip oil or a balm on top and you would be good to go. Or a lip gloss, whatever you like. I feel like the problem with this is that it's almost like overwhelming because there's so many choices and options and things you could do. It's a lot. There's a lot of colors. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, this isn't gonna be for everybody, but if you like to play and have fun with your makeup, if you like to experiment, if you like to use what you have for a multitude of things, versatile, mix and match, you're gonna love these pressed pigments. So once again, you get lucky free gift with purchase on Sunday. If you buy the whole collection, you also get that. Or any 3 pigments through the rest of the month of March, you'll get it as well. I would love to hear from you guys if you have any ideas of other ways to wear these. I feel like eyeshadow, eyeliner, lips, cheeks. I'm sure there's some things I'm not even thinking about, like more fun ways. So let me know in the comments if you guys get these, what are you using them for? Which shades are you drawn to? Which ones are your favorite? Do you like feeling like an artist, or are these super scary and overwhelming? So there you go. There are our pressed pigments from Seint. As always, if you guys need any help with your Seint 3D foundation, If you're needing help or you have any questions over these shades, just comment down below. If you need me, I'm always at sarah@thecontouredchemist.com. Just email me. I will put my color match questionnaire in the drop box below the video. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.